Ladies, let me tell you something. There are just some things a woman should never put on full display for a man. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for honesty. I'm all for communication, but there are certain things that should stay in your vault. And if you don't have a vault, it's time to build one. Confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a woman can have, but the moment she starts revealing her deepest insecurities to a man, she risks shifting the power dynamic in a way that might not work in her favor. It's natural to have insecurities. Everybody does. But how you carry them makes all the difference. A man should never be given the keys to your self-doubt, because the truth is, not every man is going to handle that information the right way. When a woman starts pointing out her flaws, whether it's about her looks, her abilities, or her worth, she is planting seeds in his mind that he might have never even noticed. Maybe she thinks her body isn't perfect. Maybe she feels she's not smart enough. Maybe she worries she's not lovable. But the minute she starts speaking those insecurities out loud, she is inviting him to see her the way she fears being seen. A confident woman can walk into a room and make people believe she owns the place, even if she has doubts deep down. But a woman who constantly highlights her own shortcomings, she teaches others to see her through that same lens. Now let's be real. A good man will support you, uplift you, and make you feel beautiful no matter what. But even the best men have limits on what they can emotionally handle. If a woman continuously dumps all her self-doubt onto a man, he may start to feel like he's carrying emotional baggage that he never signed up for. Most men aren't wired to navigate deep emotional conversations the way women are. They might listen, they might reassure you once or twice, but if you keep looking for validation in a man, he'll start feeling the pressure of always having to fix something that, in reality, only you can fix. There's also another harsh reality. Some men will take your insecurities and use them as leverage. Not every man will do this, but the wrong kind of man will. If he knows you don't feel secure about yourself, he might play on those insecurities to control you, to keep you doubting yourself so you won't ever feel like you deserve better. If he knows you feel unworthy, he might make you work harder for his love just to keep you hooked. And the worst part, you might not even realize it's happening until you're too deep in it. This is why self-confidence is non-negotiable. When you walk into a relationship, you have to carry yourself like you know your worth. Because the moment you start questioning it, you give the other person permission to question it too. The key is not to pretend you're perfect, but to understand that your insecurities are not for public display. You work on them in private. You build yourself up. You affirm yourself. You do the inner work. But you don't hand that power over to a man and expect him to fix what only you can heal. Your past is your personal history, and while it may have shaped you into the person you are today, that doesn't mean every single detail needs to be shared with a man. There's a difference between honesty and oversharing. A woman should always be truthful, but that doesn't mean she has to lay out every chapter of her life like an open book. Some things are meant to stay between her and God, and some things are simply nobody's business. A man might tell you, you can tell me anything, but that doesn't mean he's ready to handle everything. Men process information differently than women. They may think they want to know your full history, but when certain details come out, they can change the way they see you. It's not even always intentional. It's just how the male mind works. Some men will say they're open-minded, that they don't judge, but once you give them too much insight into your past mistakes, struggles, or experiences, something shifts. They start looking at you through a different lens, and that can create problems that didn't even need to exist in the first place. There's also the issue of selective memory. A woman might open up about something painful from her past, thinking she's sharing an intimate part of herself, only for that information to come back to haunt her later. Maybe during an argument, he throws it in her face. Maybe he starts making comparisons, even if he doesn't say them out loud. Some men, when given too much information, will store it away and bring it up at a time when you least expect it. Even a man who loves you might struggle to forget certain details that he wasn't ready to hear. Then there's the fact that some people simply don't deserve access to your past. Not every man who enters your life is worthy of knowing what you've been through. Some experiences are sacred, and they should only be shared with those who have proven they can handle that level of vulnerability. A woman should never feel pressure to explain or justify her past to someone who hasn't earned that trust. A man should respect who she is in the present without needing to dissect everything that led her there. It's also important to understand that not every past mistake defines who you are today. Sometimes, when you share too much, people start associating you with the version of yourself that no longer exists. They might say they accept it, but in the back of their mind, they may still see you through the lens of your past choices. That's why it's so important to be selective about what you reveal. Growth means leaving certain things behind, not carrying them into every new relationship as baggage. Keeping parts of your past to yourself isn't about deception, it's about protection. It's about recognizing that not everything needs to be explained, that not every detail needs to be relived, and that true love is based on who you are today, not on the history you choose to keep private. Money is one of the most powerful tools a person can have, and how a woman manages her finances can determine the level of control she maintains in a relationship. A woman should never reveal the full details of her financial situation to a man too soon, whether she's wealthy or struggling. The moment a man knows too much about her money, it can change the way he treats her, the way he values her, and even the way he approaches the relationship. If a woman is financially well off, some men will see her as a provider rather than a partner. They might start relying on her to take care of things, suddenly expecting her to cover expenses or assuming she doesn't need them to step up. While an independent woman might be capable of handling her own bills, that doesn't mean she should invite a man to depend on her financially. A relationship should never be built on one person feeling obligated to carry the weight of another. Some men, once they realize a woman is financially stable, will begin to take advantage of that, either by borrowing money, making excuses, or shifting responsibilities onto her shoulders without her even noticing at first. On the other hand, if a woman is struggling financially, revealing too much about it can also backfire. Some men will see financial weakness as a form of vulnerability, an opportunity to control or manipulate. If a man knows she's in a difficult financial position, he may use money as leverage, making her feel indebted to him in ways that go beyond just financial support. He may start using phrases like, "I'd do so much for you," or "Where would you be without me?" creating an unhealthy dynamic where she feels trapped rather than supported. A woman should always maintain control over her own finances, no matter what stage her relationship is in. Having her own bank account, managing her own investments, and keeping certain details private ensures that she remains independent and self-sufficient. Trust in a relationship is important, but financial trust is something that must be earned over time. It's not about hiding money, it's about maintaining autonomy. Even in marriage, while financial discussions are necessary, a woman should never lose sight of her individual financial well-being. Some women make the mistake of handing over complete financial control to their partner only to find themselves in difficult situations if the relationship goes south. A woman should always have her own savings, her own financial plan, and a clear understanding of her own economic standing. Money can change people, and in relationships, it can shift dynamics in unexpected ways. A woman must be smart about how much she shares and when she shares it, ensuring that financial matters remain a source of strength rather than a potential weakness. Whether she has a lot or a little, her financial independence is something that should always be protected. Family is one of the most personal and sacred aspects of a woman's life. It's where she comes from, the foundation that shaped her, and a space where love and struggles often coexist. While it's natural to talk about family in a relationship, a woman should be mindful of how much she shares. Not every detail about her family's private affairs should be revealed to a man, no matter how close they become. Family dynamics can be complex. Every family has its ups and downs, and sometimes those issues run deep. A woman might have faced challenges growing up, conflicts with siblings, or ongoing struggles with relatives, But bringing those issues into a relationship too soon can create unnecessary complications. When a woman shares too much about family problems, a man may begin to see her family in a negative light, forming opinions that may not be fair or accurate. A man who hears constant complaints about a woman's family might start viewing them as burdens rather than loved ones. He might hesitate to engage with them, distance himself, or even use those details against her later. If arguments arise, he may say things like, "Well, your family has always been a mess," or "You told me yourself that they're toxic." Even if the woman vents about a temporary disagreement with a relative, the man may hold on to that information far longer than she does. There's also the risk of creating a divide between her partner and her family. If she shares too many private matters, she might unknowingly place him in a position where he feels like he has to choose sides. A man may develop resentment towards certain family members based on things she shared in the past, even after she has moved past them. Family relationships evolve, and conflicts that once seemed major may later become insignificant. But if a man has already formed negative opinions based on past conversations, it can be difficult to undo that perception. Some family matters are simply nobody's business. Financial struggles, past mistakes, family secrets. These are things that should be protected, not openly discussed. A woman must recognize that while a man may be her partner, he is not entitled to every detail of her family's private affairs. Certain matters should remain within the family, handled by those directly involved. Even in marriage, while transparency is important, a woman should always maintain a level of discretion when it comes to her family's internal matters. If trust is ever broken in the relationship, shared family secrets could be used against her in ways she never anticipated. Relationships may come and go, but family ties often remain. It's important to protect those bonds by being selective about what is shared and what is kept within the family circle. A woman's next move in life, whether it's personal, professional, or even within a relationship, should never be fully disclosed before it happens. There's power in keeping certain plans to yourself until they are in motion. When a woman reveals everything she is about to do, she opens the door for interference, unnecessary opinions, and even potential sabotage, sometimes from the very person she trusts the most. Not everyone will understand or support a woman's dreams and goals, and that includes the man she is with. Even if he loves her, he may not always see her vision the way she does. Some men might unintentionally discourage her, not because they don't care, but because they don't believe in what they can't yet see. A woman who constantly shares her plans may find herself in a cycle of seeking approval rather than confidently moving forward. And when a man questions or doubts her decisions, it can create hesitation and self-doubt, slowing her progress. There's also the risk of a man feeling threatened by a woman's ambitions. If he senses that she is becoming more independent, more successful, or moving in a direction that doesn't revolve around him, he may try to subtly hold her back. This doesn't always come in the form of direct opposition. It can be disguised as concern, distraction, or even guilt tripping. He might say things like, "Are you sure this is the right time?" Or, "I just don't want you to get hurt." Over time, these small discouragements can add up, making a woman second guess herself. Another reason to keep plans private is to avoid unnecessary pressure. When a woman tells a man what she intends to do, she creates expectations. If things don't go as planned or take longer than expected, she may feel the weight of his silent judgment. Even if he never says anything, she may sense his doubt, making her feel like she has failed before she even gets a chance to succeed. Keeping plans to herself allows her to move at her own pace, adjust when necessary, and execute her vision without external pressure. In some cases, revealing plans can lead to direct interference. A man who feels insecure about a woman's growth may try to influence her decisions to keep her within his comfort zone. He may subtly shift conversations, create distractions, or find ways to make her feel guilty for prioritizing her goals. Some men, especially those with controlling tendencies, see a woman's independence as a threat rather than a strength. Keeping certain plans private protects a woman from unnecessary manipulation. Even in a committed relationship, it is healthy for a woman to maintain a sense of mystery about her next steps. A man should see her evolving, achieving, and making moves without always having access to the blueprint. When she speaks, it should be about what she has done, not what she plans to do. There's a special kind of power in action, and a woman who moves in silence often accomplishes more than one who constantly seeks validation before taking the first step. Emotions are a powerful part of who a woman is, but not every feeling needs to be laid bare in front of a man. A woman's emotional depth is one of her greatest strengths, yet if not handled wisely, it can also become a vulnerability. While relationships thrive on communication and connection, that doesn't mean a woman should expose every single emotion she experiences. There is a balance between being open and maintaining a sense of emotional control. Men and women process emotions differently. Women often find comfort in expressing their feelings, working through their emotions by talking about them. Men, on the other hand, are wired to respond to problems with solutions rather than emotional support. When a woman constantly shares every emotional high and low with a man, he may begin to feel overwhelmed, unsure of how to handle it. Instead of feeling like her partner, he might start to feel like her emotional caretaker. Over time, this can create distance rather than closeness, as he may begin to withdraw rather than engage. Another risk of revealing too much emotion is that some men may use it against her. Not every man is equipped to handle a woman's vulnerability with care. If he sees her emotions as excessive or unpredictable, he may start viewing her as unstable or difficult to deal with. In some cases, a man might even manipulate those emotions to maintain control in the relationship. If he knows what triggers her, what makes her feel insecure, or what buttons to push, he can use that knowledge to shift power in his favor. This is why a woman must be selective in what she shares and how she expresses her emotions. It is also important to understand that constant emotional exposure can make a woman seem too predictable. Men are drawn to a sense of mystery, a challenge that keeps them engaged. When a woman lays out all her emotions at once, she removes that sense of intrigue. A man should never feel like he has complete access to a woman's mind and heart without effort. Keeping certain feelings to herself allows a woman to maintain a sense of self-possession, ensuring that she is not entirely dependent on a man for emotional validation. This does not mean a woman should suppress her feelings or avoid emotional honesty. The key is knowing when, how, and with whom to share them. A woman should have other outlets, friends, mentors, self-reflection, where she can process emotions without always relying on a man. When she does choose to open up, it should be in a way that invites respect, not pity, strength, not weakness. A woman's emotions are part of what makes her beautiful, but they should never be something that diminishes her power. Mastering emotional control doesn't mean hiding who she is. It means protecting her heart, her mind, and her peace. A woman who knows when to express herself and when to hold back is a woman who commands respect, keeps her dignity, and remains in control of her own narrative.